In this video, we're going to continue our work with solving systems of equations by doing a word problem that involves simple interest, but will require the use of a system of equations along with one of our methods, substitution or elimination, to solve. So let's take a look at this. It says that Skippy invests her savings in two accounts. One pays 4% simple interest and the other pays 11% simple interest per year. She invests twice as much in the lower yielding account because it is less risky. Her annual interest earned is $3,477. How much did she invest in each account? We are asked to find how much was invested in each account. So because there are two accounts, then we have two unknowns, don't we? So let's define our variables here. We're going to let X represent the amount invested at 4%, and then we will let Y represent the amount invested at the 11%. Okay, so we've defined our variables, and again, you've probably done work with simple interest before, and as you know, the way that we calculate simple interest is we use this simple interest equation. Interest equals principal times rate times time. PRT. And for us, we're only looking at 1 year. So our time is going to be 1 year. So for us, our interest will be principal times rate. So I made use of this nice little table to help us organize our thoughts, right? And so we've got the type of accounts are the 4% account. So we're just going to label this row here, and the 11% account. And then the amount invested at 4%, that's called the principal, and that's our X, isn't it? So we're going to put our X here. And the amount invested at 11% is principal, is going to be Y. Now, we're going to use our rates here as decimals, so 0.04, right? 4%, 4 per 100. So we move the decimal to get that, the decimal point to get that decimal rate. And then for the 11%, that's 0.11, and the interest rate earned at the 4%, we multiply principal times rate, and we have 0.04 times X, and we multiply for the 11% the principal times rate there, and we have 0.11Y, and they gave us this total. This was given. The total amount of interest earned is the $3,477. So what we've done here is that we have one of the equations right here in this column and with this table. So the first equation is 0.04x plus 0.11y equals 3477. Okay, but we need a second equation because one of the things that you remember is with systems of equations is that when you define two variables, you're going to need to have two equations. So what information haven't we used yet? Well, we have not used this information right here, that Skippy is investing twice as much in the lower yielding account as in the higher. So our lowest yielding account is X. So that principal, right, that's our principal that was invested at 4%, is twice as much as what she invested in the 11% account because it had more risk. So there's our system of equations. Now, if you are looking at this and saying substitution method looks like a great one for this because of this equation right here being already defined for X, you're absolutely right. That's what I would use as well. But let's get rid of these decimals right here. If you don't want to deal with these decimals, we can multiply this whole equation by 100 and move the decimals everywhere, right? So that's what we're going to do first. We'll multiply by 100 to move the decimals. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to multiply this one, and don't forget the one on the right. That's the one sometimes students forget. Let's put that here, because we're working on substitution. We've got this organizer that we've used before, where on the left side we're going to put our equation that's already solved for X. And then here I'm going to go ahead and write 4X, right? Because I'm just moving the decimal, multiplying this by 100 with the decimal, plus 11Y equals, and then here I'm going to add 2 zeros for my 100, just like that. And now we are substituting for X. So if you remember, you will put in this method with this organizer, we just put a placeholder there for the X, and then we write the rest of the equation, and where X is, we look to the left column and we substitute the 2Y. So the 2Y goes there, right? And so now let's go ahead and multiply that. So we have 8Y plus 11y equals 347,700. These are nice like terms here, so we have 19y. 19y equals 347,700. And now I'm going to divide by 19 and let's see what this y equals. $18,300. Because if you remember, the y represents the amount invested at 11%. Right? So that's our y. So Skippy invested $18,300 at the 11%. And then, of course, we know x is twice that much. So she's invested twice that much. So x, we bring this over here, x is 2 times the 18,300. $36,600 were invested at the 4%.